I recently did a video about how a yoga practice can be counterintuitive. And it might be coming out before or after you listen to this one. But this is one of those same cases. So we're going to do a practice to build energy, but we're going to do it through a restorative style practice. You will need just a blanket and 2 blocks. If you prefer a bolster, because a bolster is easier for you, let's grab one of those. And what I'm going to have us start with is a shoulder and chest opener. So you'll take this blanket and you'll fold it into this position, which isn't very much really. And then you're going to bring it to the top edge of the mat. And you'll have the blocks down alongside you. Now where this blanket is going to lie is this top edge of the blanket will be aligned with the top edge of the shoulders, and that will keep the whole chest supported. And it lets the neck get a little bit more curvature and more release. And then the head can just rest. So you see there's space between my neck and the floor. And then you'll grab these blocks, blocky fellas. You'll bring the bottoms of the feet together and drop the knees out wide. And I want you to make sure that you're comfortable temperature-wise. So whatever you need to do that, please do that, just so that there's nothing else for you to be thinking about or distracted by throughout practice. Now, I like the hands on the belly or on the torso when I'm feeling chilly, and the arms out wide when I'm feeling hot. And you're just going to close the eyes, let the body rest here. And the openings that are happening are very subtle. Nothing too abrupt. You can have the eyes open or closed here. But you're just taking this time to settle into your body. Noticing what it feels and how it feels. What things are physically apparent to you today? You can pay attention to the sounds around you. Getting a good sense of placement for yourself. And then start to visualize your chest and the rise and the fall of the chest as you breathe. Feeling the support and the opening that the blanket provides And it is so subtle. Just pushing the rib cage forward by about an inch. Add it in with the external rotation of the legs to give you some back bend through the lumbar spine. And then you'll slowly bring the legs together, placing the blocks off to the side. And after the legs have come together, bring the arms out into a cactus position. Take the feet about as wide as the yoga mat, and then begin to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. You can alternate the turn of the head or just let it lull with the legs. As always, doing whatever you need to have the best practice for you. Eventually bringing the legs back to center. And you'll hug the knees into the chest, and you'll just start to roll a little bit forward and back. For most people, for some people, this doesn't feel good on the spine, but with the blanket underneath us, it can make a bit of a difference for how it feels. And we're just trying to get that sensation through the back. And the spine isn't something that gets touched often or stimulated physically often besides working out or doing yoga. And it is very energizing. Good, this next time you'll just come up and stay up. Sit for a second, let the momentum kind of calm down. Be with your breath. Notice how it feels. And you've checked in physically today, what you're feeling in your body, what's apparent, what's prominent for you. The next pose that we're going to do, we're going to check in mentally, and it's a good pose to check in mentally with. So you can roll the blanket up. Nice tight little donut-y roll, and then place it under the knees, and that gives you some bend. If that's not enough for you, take blocks and place them under the knees. I like this variation because it gives me more space in my low back. And then we're going to come into a forward fold. So just starting to walk the chest forward, opening up through the back side of the body. If you don't have a block underneath the knees, you can place a block on top of the shins like so, to rest the forehead on. Or you can just entirely collapse over the lower body. Wherever you come to with this position, first feel physically, notice where you might feel things, or if things are intense or if they're comfortable. And then you'll start to draw in mentally and emotionally to how you're feeling. What is it that the mind is doing for you right now? Because we're staying in poses for an extended period of time, you can always change it up. You can always mobilize as your body adjusts. There are a lot of techniques in meditation that teach us to become the witness of the mind rather than the mind itself. So one of the ones that I was taught and that I really like to use is as though thoughts are clouds passing in the sky, and you can just kind of watch them drift past and change shape and change form and move in and out of the picture. And then another one I like is just standing next to a railroad watching a train zip by and just witnessing thoughts like that too. They come and they go. They come and they go. Sometimes we hop on the sometimes we hop on the crazy train and go with the thoughts. But we try to teach ourselves just to be present where we are inside our body, which is why I put so much emphasis on the physical body, so that we can witness that the mind is not in control of us, but that it's something there for us to use, for us to be with. Slowly release. Start to come up. Take a moment to see what the body needs and take any movements that it needs. And then you'll just find a seated position. A comfortable seated position. We're going to do some Kapalabhati breath, so some breath of fire. Breath of fire is the quick snapping of the diaphragm in towards the spine to expel the breath through the nose. So we don't blow it out and then breathe in again. The breath actually happens quite naturally, so you don't have to think about it. Let's take a deep breath in. Also clear your nose for a second. Make sure that you're not going to blow snot all over everything, or have a Kleenex if you do. And then take a nice deep breath in. And begin at whatever pace you would like. Long exhale out. Hold it out for a moment. Let the belly relax. And then take a nice deep breath in. Hold the breath in for a moment. And release. Let's do another round of that. So feeling the fire inside the belly and stoking this internal heat to kind of balance out what we've noticed about the body and what we've noticed about the mind. Seeing if we can find some equality there. So take a nice deep breath in again. And begin as however fast or slow you would like to go. Please don't feel like you have to follow my pace with it. Do something that really suits you, or if my pace suits you, then of course, carry on. Long exhale out. Hold it out, have the belly relaxed. When you can't hold it out anymore, take a nice deep inhale. Hold it in. And then exhale. Good, blinking the eyes open if they were closed. And again, just noticing how you're feeling. Come to sit on a blanket if you would like. We're going to come into a wide leg position. And we're not going to forward fold. In this wide leg position, we're going to take us to our very edge with it, right? So the legs are nice and wide. So wide that we couldn't go any further, and so wide that we couldn't go forward with it either. And we're just going to hold the inner edge of the legs, give some support to that inner thigh. And just sit up straight for a moment, but close the eyes and really be with the sensations again of your body. Start to focus on letting the glutes relax and watching how they'll engage, or other muscles will engage to try to protect the inner thigh, and just be so present with it that you continue to release those engagements and trust. If you need to back out of the pose slightly, please do that. Blinking the eyes open, noticing how you're feeling mentally and physically. Take some open mouth exhales if this has been intense for you. And use the hands to lift the thighs and bend the knees, and then bring the legs into a simple cross-legged position. Take the right arm out to the side and bend over to the right and raise the left arm up. And you want to treat that right arm like it's a post to hold you into place. And then you reach with the left arm, and that's going to open up through the left side of the abdomen, the rib cage, and up into the armpit. Feel the compression on your right side, and be explorative. I just kind of kicked into that, moving the chin around. You can even move that top arm around so that it doesn't start to feel weak or fatigued. You're focusing on this compression of the right side body and this opening of the left side body, but that doesn't mean that you can't mobilize the arm and the head and still get that opening, get that compression. You'll release, and you'll just switch sides. Noticing how different the sides can be. And finding movement. Keeping the torso in one place, but mobilizing the arm, mobilize the head. release. Sit for a moment. Close the eyes. And let's come into a supported shoulder stand. If you have head or neck stuff going on, and this doesn't sound good, just take a supported bridge. So we're actually going to start from a supported bridge where we're lying on our back. Nothing is underneath the head. We lift the hips, we slide the block underneath the hips. And we want to make sure that it's nice and supportive of the back of our pelvis, so it's not up here on the lumbar spine, it's really down here underneath the hips and the butt. Supported bridge, if you want to stay here, is going to look like this. The hands can be wherever you would like them to be. Otherwise, you'll bring the knees in towards the chest, and you kind of create this shelf on the edge of the block for the pelvis to rest on. And you can begin to extend the legs up towards the ceiling. And they'll just reach straight up for a few moments. Staring up at the toes, noticing the symmetries and the asymmetries between the feet. Feeling the shoulders press firm into the ground and the low back is getting stretched open. Sometimes it's nice to hold on to the block, especially if you have it on a higher level or one of those thin blocks, just to make sure that you're supported. Over time, the legs will start to fall a little bit closer towards you. And again, you can adjust the block as needed if you take this variation. You can even kind of support through the legs with the hands. Being with this inversion, this supported and gentle inversion, noticing the sensation in the legs and in the lower body. Excuse me. Bending the knees, drawing them in towards the chest. And then very slowly use the support of the arms to either the legs or the block or the floor, and lower the feet to the ground, which is going to take you into a little bit of a back bend, which is a great counter pose for shoulder stand, even a supported shoulder stand. And then once you take a couple breaths here, kind of lifting up through the chest, let yourself settle back down. Could lift the hips, slide the block out from underneath you, and slowly come back down. And we're going to come over onto our bellies for Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, if you have low back stuff, it can sometimes not feel super great. So Sphinx is where the elbows are traditionally practiced underneath the shoulders. But as you can see, I have a lot of curvature in my low back, so that really dumps some weight into my low back. I don't have much engagement there. So I like to take my arms a little bit out in front of me, and that lets the rib cage soften down and doesn't create so much pressure on the low back. So play around with those two options and see what feels best. I don't want you to have the legs engaged. I don't want you to have anything in the body really engaged. The fingers are spread wide, and you're just kind of relying on mechanics to keep you in the position. The collarbone's open towards the top edge of the mat. And you can let the chin drop towards the chest. And notice both physical and emotional sensations. When you catch muscles kicking on, try to relax them again. Remember that the mechanics of the body are keeping you in place. And if it feels like the muscles are having to hold you in place, then adjust your positioning until it feels very mechanical. Very much like the bones are what's supporting the muscles, and the muscles can just release. And you'll start to make your way back into child's pose. So first lower down either side of the face to the ground and just pause here. And then come back to child's pose. You can use a blanket across the top of the thighs in this child's pose or behind the knees, just to create some more cushion, some more warmth, some more support. The head can rest on the hands or the floor or block. You can even turn either side of the face towards the ground and release the arms down alongside you. And then slowly press up and come to a seat. And if you don't want to sit, you can come to lie on your back. But since this is restorative for energy, I want us to stop in a seated position. We've done postures to be supportive of our body opening up and energizing, but they've also been long holds. So ending practice sitting upright, unless your body's absolutely resisting it and just wants to lay down. Bring the palms to the center of the chest and just observe how you're feeling. And starting to think about energy coursing through your veins, but the perfect balance of energy so as not to overstimulate the mind. Moving through the body, providing motivation, lightheartedness, joy, and an appreciation for what movement and postures and breath and awareness can do for you. Have an amazing day. Namaste.